Chevy Vortec V8 GMT800 trucks, O2 sensor removal tips. Here's every single one, quick and easy. Let's check it out. Trust me, I'm a mechanic. All right, 2002 Chevy Avalanche. We got to get the old O2 sensor off, get this new one on there. 4 O2 sensors on this. We have the downstream, upstream, passenger side, bank 2 sensor 1, bank 2 sensor 2. Come over here to the driver's side. We have bank 1 sensor 1, bank 1 sensor 2. We're going to be replacing bank 1 sensor 1. All right, so these O2 sensors are going to be stuck in the truck. They've been in there for 20 years. They always get stuck. You know, you try to get in there and get them out, you can't, because they get hot and cold. They get dirt in there. They get rusted in there. Hopefully they're not stuck that bad. Out of all of these, this one right here, bank 2 sensor 1 is the hardest to get at. You know, it's all up under the fender well. You got to take the fender well apart, get in there, swap it out. The second sensors, bank 2 sensor 2, and then bank 1 sensor 2, easy to get to. Bank 1 sensor 1 is pretty easy. That's the hardest. So the O2 sensor removal socket tool is the standard procedure on these. If you don't have one, you can rent it and return it for free rental. Sometimes you have to get in there with a blowtorch and heat them up and get them hot so that you can get them out. And sometimes you even have to spray them with oil, like PB Blaster, while they're hot to loosen them up. All right, so here's the O2 sensor removal socket right here. We're gonna be using the 7/8. You can get one of these sockets, you know, it's split like that so you can get it over the wire like this right here. And then you can come down and it'll fit on there just like that. And that way, you know, you don't strip it out trying to get it out. Some guys don't like using these, I don't. Sometimes they get stuck. You know, you can cut the wire off the O2 sensor and stick you a box wrench on there and get it off that way. Sometimes you can get them out after the engine has been running and is hot, work on it while the exhaust is hot with gloves. That seems to work pretty well. You know, normally you don't have much trouble doing it that way. All right, so I got my socket on there and I have a breaker bar on here so I can break it loose. You know, these are normally really stuck, but there it goes, easy, just like that. Came off. This one wasn't too stuck on here. Now, you know, if they're really stuck, you know, I just start with the breaker bar so I can get that leverage on there. But this one wasn't that stuck, and it does look a little rusty. But sometimes they can get really stuck on here. Thankfully, well, unfortunately for this video, we didn't have to fight with it. But yeah, it comes right out like that. And you can see the old one right here is all nasty. Look how burnt up that is. Been running rich. All right, so we're gonna get the new one installed just like that. Get it threaded in there, get it started by hand, and we're gonna come back and tighten it down. Oh yeah, going right in. If the O2 sensors are really stuck in there, you can snip the wire right here and get a wrench, put this side of the wrench on there, the closed side, and you can put a pipe on there and break them loose. But if you snap it off in there, or if you snap the bung where it screws into the exhaust, you got bigger problems. And then if they're really bad, you can get in there with a 7/8 inch deep well socket on an impact and try to impact them off. You know, that's a last resort. You don't wanna mess up the exhaust. So another thing you can do is you can depin the connector and get in there with a closed box wrench, put it over the wire, get in there, remove it, put the connector back on. That's another option too. So if you're having trouble getting the old one off, you can do like this and put a hose clamp on there, tighten it down, and that way the socket won't open up and flex. I don't recommend using heat, you know, open flame in some spots, especially down here where there's a lot of flammable stuff. Don't like doing it. Some of the open spots are easier that way. So here's all the tools laid out. 7/8, 7/8, 7/8 on these trucks. They are 7/8 inch. So they also got a socket like this right here. Deep well socket with a slit in it. That worked pretty well. This one, you know, doesn't flex as much as that one will. You know, it's harder steel. You know, sometimes you got to get a breaker bar, 1/2 inch socket, 1/2 inch driver. Don't recommend 3/8. You'll probably break the ratchet if they're that stuck. Get a breaker bar, tap it, you know, try to get it out. 7/8 box wrench, you can use that too. Then of course they throw some dielectric grease on there so the new one won't get stuck and you won't have to ever deal with this again in the future. There we go, we got the O2 sensor tightened down now and we got it plugged up to the electrical connector up in there and we are done. All right, y'all, that's it for the video. So hopefully they just come out easy for you. You don't have to use any of these tips, but if you need to, now you know them. And I've had to do stuff like breaker bars, impacts on these things sometimes. Not fun, but you got to get the job done. If y'all want to see how to diagnose an O2 sensor, check out up here. I'll show you how I diagnose O2 sensors on these things and exactly how they work. Don't forget to drop me a huge thumbs up down below, and don't forget to subscribe for more Chevy truck tips in the future. Check you on the next one. Later.